How many games does Auburn football coach Hugh Freeze need to win this year to save his job? Let's talk about it on this live edition of the Uptempo podcast. Yes, sir. Good afternoon to the Auburn family. Good afternoon to the Uptempo gang. Dustin Smith and Blake Lane, another live edition of the Uptempo podcast. Blake, our guy Hugh Freeze went golfing, and he made some comments that had the Auburn fans and college football fans all across the SEC kind of looking sideways and saying, hey, wait a minute, what did you mean by that? So we're going to get in here today, talk about that. FanDuel has put out their over-under totals for all the SEC teams, and they got Auburn at 7.5. So we'll discuss whether we think that's fair. Does Auburn clear that over-under, and what it all means for Hugh Freeze? I'm excited to get in here this afternoon and talk a little Auburn football with you, buddy, right before this baseball tournament kicks off tomorrow night for the Tigers. A little football talk.
Yeah, Dustin, that's what I'm currently, if you see me looking away, I am looking at some SEC tournament scores and things like that. Watched a couple of the games today. South Carolina, they just started. They're currently leading Florida 1-0 in the top of the first. So I'll turn that one on here in just a bit. But, man, Auburn officially announced they're starting Cam Tilley tomorrow. So get ready for that. We got the winner of Texas A&M, Mississippi State tomorrow night at the Hoover Met. Stay up, drink the energy drinks, the coffee, whatever you got to do. It's going to be a late one, man. Probably around an 8:30 start. So that's the Auburn baseball update right there, man.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I'm fired up for it. I'm definitely going to have to come home, get a nap, wake back up, and get some Starbucks or something like that.
No doubt.
But let's play this comment, Blake. I got it. It is courtesy of the guys over at the Next Round Live. Want to give them their credit. They had a Hugh there for about 15 minutes, and I'm gonna play the clip now that kind of got everybody going.
This season, does it feel a little bit different? Do you feel like, hey, I've got to win X amount of games?
I'm not a fool. I think we've got to go to a bowl game, and I think our administration understands. Look, I inherited a program that didn't have a top 25 recruiting class for 4 years. You're not going to win in this league. We've had now 2 full recruiting classes, both top 10. I think one more than your roster looks complete, but I'm still not naive. And we should have won some games last year that we could have won some games. I shouldn't say we should. We could have won some games last year. And we've got to find a way to make sure we're excellent in those areas that cost us those, that put us in a position to be at least bowl eligible, if not more. And I see no reason why we shouldn't do that. And I think that's an expectation that our people should expect. And I don't sit around feeling like that puts a lot of pressure on me. Look, I'm blessed. And I'm blessed to be at one of the greatest universities, to live in one of the greatest towns, to work for some of the greatest people. And our administration's awesome. My family, I have all 3 daughters there and grandkids. So, whatever the outcome of all of that is, that will be okay. Obviously, I'm a competitor, and I want to deliver to the Auburn people, and it's time for us to start doing that.
All right, Blake. So I think obviously what caught everybody's eye there was at the beginning of the clip when he said I'm no fool. We need to make a bowl game. There's a lot of different opinions out there. A lot of people saying it's been taken out of context. A lot of people saying, no, that's a little bit of a slip up. Where do you fall on all of this?
Look, man, if you're going to say we need to make a bowl game, say we need to make a New Year's Six bowl game. Something along those lines. Or just blatantly come out and say, hey, we need to get to 8-4 or 9-3. If that's how you want to put it. I know you said you don't want to put a number on it, but we know the number, Hugh. And I think it was very poorly put, and it was a poor choice of words. And I don't care how you slice it. You can get mad at me all you want to. I don't care. This is a man who lost to New Mexico State in year 1, and he went 5-7 in year 2. So stop the BS. Stop sugarcoating crap. All right. It's time to buckle up. The leash is extremely tight. So cut it all out with the, oh, Hugh, yeah. No, stop. When you get to the mic, there's no way you thought that sounded good going through your head. There's no way. There is no way, Dustin, that he thought that sounded right. Is that what Hugh Freeze meant, was going 6-6? No, it's not. But I'm one of the people that looks at it and says, oh man, that looks so bad on Auburn. Y'all wonder why we get made fun of by Alabama fans, right? Y'all get it? What do Alabama fans say? Alabama competes for championships. You think Nick Saban would ever say some shit like that?
I doubt it.
And excuse me for my French, but I would never hear him say anything like that. Or I don't even think Kalen DeBoer would say some crap like that.
Yeah.
We need to make a bowl game. Is that what Auburn football has come to? Is that, like I said, is that what Hugh meant? No, it's not. 6-6 is not what he meant. But, man, you got to come out and be like, hey, man, this is Auburn football. I want to give these fans, I want to give these people that show up every single Saturday when we were absolutely terrible last year and they showed up to Jordan-Hare against Texas A&M. I want to give them something to be happy about. I want to give them a winning season. I want to give them the shot to see a championship. I want to compete for the chance to go to Atlanta. I want to compete for the chance to be in the conversation of the 12-team college football playoff. They expanded that thing, baby. You can say it. You can say, hey, this is Auburn football. We should be competing at the highest level. We should be up there with the Tennessees, the Georgias, the Alabamas. You know, Florida's getting a lot of love again. We should be up there. We should not be losing to Vanderbilt. And I'm sick of it, man. I think a lot of people, I think we gave that whole little segment right there a pass. Because not only just that, he said, well, we should have won some. And then he stopped and he said, well, we could have. No, dog, you should have.
Yeah.
You should have. Stop with the BS and stop with the crap. You should have won. You should have beat Oklahoma. You should have beat Vanderbilt. You should have beat Arkansas. And you should have beat Cal. And you should have beat Missouri. Stop with the BS. I want you to talk straight up. I want you to talk to me nice. Stop with the crap. And there's no way whoever you ran that by or whatever just said, oh, yeah, that's great. Go ahead and say that. That's awesome. I think that's the perfect answer. Because it wasn't, man. That's the furthest. That's the last thing I wanted to hear as an Auburn fan is for my head coach to sit there. Man, Kirby Smart is laughing. Kirby Smart is laughing. They're like, hey, man, you see this guy over here? He's talking about Auburn getting to a bowl game. Man, everybody else is like, hey, we're trying to get to the college football playoffs, dog. That was my biggest thing with it, Dustin, is, hey, I'm a Hugh guy. You know that. Yeah. I'm a Hugh guy. I want him to succeed at Auburn. Even after the New Mexico State loss. I said, hey, man, just he's got to have time. And he's right about the recruiting. And we talked just a minute ago. He's the best recruiter we've ever had. That's awesome. But, man, it seems like when you get behind a microphone, dog, it just, whew, boy, it ain't there. And I'm sorry, a lot of you might disagree with me. But I'm just one of those Auburn fans where I don't want to hear it. That's the last thing I wanted to hear was, yeah, we got to get to a bowl game. Y'all, if you're going to say that, I'll say it again. At least hit me with, hey, we need to get to a New Year's Six bowl, or we need to go 8-4 or 9-3. Just hit me with it straight. And I think, when we were having our conversation, you said with Mike G and that interview, and Mike G kind of asked him, he flirted with putting a number on it. How many wins? And Hugh didn't want to go there. He didn't want to. Look, dog, we know the number. We know it. There's no reason to dance around it. Auburn football is not 6-6. They're not 7-5. So stop dancing around it. We want to compete. We want to be at the highest of highs, man. We want to get back to winning and going to Atlanta to play for SEC titles. And that is the goal of Auburn football. That is where you want to be. Not going to play in the damn Music City Bowl or the Outback Bowl.
And getting drilled
by Maryland.
Yeah.
Come on, man. That's where I'm at with it, Dustin, is I think Auburn football is better than that. And I fully understand it. 6-6 is not what he meant.
Yeah.
But boy, I've heard some people around the podcasting world and the media world and all of this say, well, if he'd have said this, it would have got taken this way. And since he said that, it got taken that way. Well, that's why I want you to just be a straight shooter. Just shoot me straight and say, hey, look, we can't lose to Arkansas the way we did. We can't have the turnovers against Cal. All that's got to stop. Shoot me straight, dog. And stop backtracking with the coulda, shoulda. No, you should have. And I want Hugh to stand on that business, man. I believe in him. I still think he's going to do great things at Auburn. But that kind of got me a little sideways.
Yeah. So I'll start here. First off, it's May 20th. If he wins football games in the fall, this will be a non-factor. We won't ever think about it again. We're only talking about this because there's really nothing else to talk about. So I fully acknowledge that first off. And I see people in the chat alluding to his interview with Mike G. And yeah, Hugh answered the question a lot better in Mike G. And, Mike G did a great job of interviewing and kind of getting him to clarify what he was saying. And I don't think that Hugh, he certainly hasn't ran from the expectations at his time as Auburn. From the moment he showed up, he's kind of said like, hey, I know what it is. I know what I got to do to win here. I think back to it was his opening press conference or one of those shortly after, right when he got hired, where he was like, I know I got 3 or 4 years to win here or I'll be out. Like he knows how it works. And then, like you said, in his heart of heart, I don't think that he's sitting there going, okay, if I go 6-6 and make a bowl, I'm good. I guess my thing with it is it's like there's so many answers that you can give to where this is no longer a conversation.
Yep. And
the simple one, I think, is just by saying because you're going to get asked this question because you've had 2 losing seasons to start in SEC tenure. Billy Napier got asked the same questions that Hugh Freeze is getting asked this offseason last year.
Yep.
The way you answer them is pretty simple. You say, hey, I understand the expectations at Auburn. I know that the Auburn people want to compete for championships. When we took over, the roster wasn't in the best spot to compete in the SEC and do that, but we've been working hard on recruiting the last couple of years, and anytime we line up, we want to win the game. We want to win every game we play, and we want to compete for championships because that's why I took the Auburn job. That's not coming out and saying, I'm going to go win the national title this year. Yep. I'm going to make the playoffs. You're just saying, hey, I'm at an SEC powerhouse, a founding member of the Southeastern Conference that's won multiple national titles, has multiple Heisman Trophy winners. I understand the expectations of the Auburn people. We got 12 games on the regular season schedule. We're going to line up and try to win every one of them. That's all you got to say, and no one's going to bat an eye.
Yep.
And I agree. I watched Crane and Company yesterday, and I agree with Jake Crane 100% when he said it felt like Hugh was trying to not give a viral answer and play it super safe and played it so safe that he kind of gave himself, he created a viral situation anyway.
Yep.
Ultimately, man, I hope it's not, and I don't think it's a peek inside the mindset. I'm kind of with you where when you said, just seems like sometimes he gets to the mic and says clumsy stuff.
Yep.
when what I just alluded to would have been the coach speak answer that 95% of the coaches say. Or like you said, he could have shot it straight and been like, hey, I know I got to win 8 or 9 football games this year. I know what it is. Because we all know that anyway. And we all know that anyway. So it's and he knows that. So, one of those two answers would have been a lot better. But I mean, if Shane Beamer gets asked at SEC Media Days this year, if Eli Drinkwitz gets asked at SEC Media Days this year, if Billy Napier gets asked at SEC Media Days this year, what are the expectations for your team this year? I'm willing to bet they're going to say something along the lines of what I said. Hey, I'm at Florida. Hey, I'm at Missouri. Hey, I'm at wherever. Our goal is to compete for championships every year and win every game that we line up for. And then it's no one's going to take anything from. There's nothing to take from it. That's the way you answer that. So I watched it and I was like, oh, dude, why? Okay. And you can't blame Auburn fans. Look, I think some people took it like too far.
Yeah.
But I can't blame Auburn fans for being sick of losing and being frustrated to the point to where they hear this and they're like, no, damn it. You made a bowl game the first year. We went and sat in the 20-degree weather for your team not to care and not take it serious and for you to play 3 freaking quarterbacks. And look, you had no idea. What does making a bowl game mean? Maryland's third stringers clapped us last bowl game we made.
Yep.
And quite frankly, 3 years in with the money and resources that have been spent and the way that you like him, credit to him for the talent that he's recruited. Birmingham Bowl, no, sir. No, sir. Music City Bowl, no, sir. Liberty Bowl, no, sir. Like it's gotta be something more. And we're about to get into the what we think the number is, but it's not 6, and I don't think that Hugh thinks it's 6, but I guess the bigger, like zooming out and looking at it big picture, like what you said, I just give the Saban answer, dog. There was times when, like, I think of the greats, the MJs, the Kobe's, the Sabans, the Derek Jeters. They didn't win championships in their respective sports every single year.
Yep.
But they answered the question the same way every single time. Michael Jordan never would have said, well, we a little banged up this year. We get to that first or second round, and we'll be okay.
Yep.
Nah, dog. You just say we're trying to win the championship.
Yep.
And no one holds you. I remember when Robbie Ashford and all those guys went on the fireside chat and with the guys over the Warport, and they all said our goal is to win the SEC title, compete for a national championship. I knew that team wasn't going to do that. I kind of giggled when they said it. But that's the answer.
Yep.
But that's the answer because that's got to be the goal. Bro, you're not at UAB. You're not at Liberty. You're not at Mississippi Gulf Community College. You're not at Ole Miss, brother. You're at Auburn. And we're sick of losing, man. Sick of it. And so when you say stuff like this, that's the reaction. This is a passionate fan base, Blake, that's tired of losing. They reacted the way they reacted.
That answer of we got to get to a bowl game is something I would expect out of Major Applewhite at South Alabama.
Yeah.
We got to get to a bowl game. Not Hugh Freeze at Auburn. And I'm tired of sugarcoating stuff. And one thing I'm tired of hearing is the roster crap.
Yeah.
Well, our roster, dog, you blew game after game after game last year. Stop with the roster stuff. Now, is the roster national championship ready? No. But stop feeding the BS of our roster wasn't good enough to win that game. Y'all, it's time to look in the mirror. All right, it's go time now. This is year 3. It's like some of you still want to hold your hand, hold Hugh's hand, and like you're walking him. You're walking, you're just saying, it's okay, man. It's okay. It's all going to get better. No, it's time to go now. Right. And I'm tired of hearing our Ross, dog, you lost a cow. Stop. All right. We gotta cut it there. We gotta cut the rosters. Yeah, the roster stuff, it all went down the drain when you lost a cow. I used to say, Hugh, you're right, brother. You stay on that roster. All right. You keep working, man. You keep doing your thing. New Mexico State, Cal, those are two of the worst losses in Auburn history in my lifetime. All right. And we told you how bad Cal was last year, by the way, and nobody believed us. Everybody thought they were going 10-2 after they beat Auburn. So that is my thing, man. Is stop with the excuses. Hit me straight. I just want you to be a straight shooter with me. All the Auburn fans know what you got to do. And I think this fan base, like you said, Dustin, we just want to hear, man, we're going to win again. That's what we want to hear, because it's been 5 years of, I mean, it all started with during COVID, a coach saying that 6 wins was a great season. You know, hey, man, we went 6-4 during a COVID year. I think it's a solid season. Guess what happened to him? Gone. Out.
Yeah. It's such an easy answer. Just, hey, we're going to play 12 games. We're going to line up and try to win every one of them. Bang. Next question. That's it. It's literally a 10-second answer, and you avoid all of this. So
That's it.
I think hopefully in the future, that because Hugh, you're going to get asked that question again. Probably going to come back up at SEC Media Days 10 times. We're going to try to win every game.
Yeah.
Just keep it moving. That's all you got to do. So, but the FanDuel has put out their over-under, Blake, and I think that they nailed it for Auburn. They have it at 7.5 wins. So the way I want to frame this question is, what's the number for Hugh Freeze? Because he's basically acknowledged the Mike G interview, the Next Round Live interview. He's kind of acknowledged, I got to win some football games. So what is the number? 7.5. They're putting it right there in the middle of 7 or 8. What number does Hugh have to get to year 4 on the Plains?
He's got to get to 8 wins. He's got to go at least 8-4. He has to. You can't keep going down the path you're going right now, man. Your biggest win is Texas A&M at home. Baylor's a must-win game, Dustin.
Yeah.
And you got a really, really favorable back half that, y'all, we should not lose to Vanderbilt. I don't care that it's in Nashville. We shouldn't lose to Kentucky. We shouldn't lose to Missouri. Come on, y'all. Come on. And Bob, look, man, I see your comment. Dustin, I'll touch on this real quick. Like I said, would you ever see Kirby Smart, Josh Heupel, or Alabama, Kalen DeBoer, what would those fan bases do if one of them said, yeah, man, we need to make it to a bowl game? I'm sorry, I'm not connected to Auburn University, okay? This podcast, it ain't connected to the school, so I'll hit you straight up with it. I just think it was very poorly worded, and it's not me whining. It's me wanting to be great, and you keep using all these excuses. And I see something in here about Coach Prime. Everybody laughed at Coach Prime, y'all. Laughed at him. Told the country that he wasn't going to do nothing. Guess what? Colorado went from 1-11 to 9-3. Like that. Bang. And don't say, oh, well, Auburn plays in the SEC. No, you blew games. All right? I'm tired of hearing it. You blew games, dog. You blew games you should have won. So stop with the BS. Stop with the excuses. Stop saying that, oh, well, Hugh. Stop. It's old at this point. I just laid it out to you. The man's lost to New Mexico State, and he's lost to Vanderbilt and Cal. It's year 3, y'all. It's time to go. This is the same fan base that was calling out Bruce Pearl when we were fighting for an 8 and 9 seed to get into the tournament 2 years ago. This is the same fan base that was saying last year that Butch Thompson needed to be fired for going 8-22 in the SEC. But in football, we just want to continue to be losers. And I'm tired of it, man. I'm sick of it. I really, really am.
There's definitely been a shift in the fan base over the past 5 to 6 years where I don't know if it's all the losing has just made people numb to it. But there's people are a lot more accepting of it. They just, they get mad if you're even upset after the losses. It's like, well,
J-Dub, stop sleeping on Vandy. Get out of here, dog. Dustin, I might be done with this episode, brother. Stop sleeping on Vandy? Come on, man. Come on. Y'all. Man, whatever happened to the Auburn football that I grew up and loved? Stop sleeping on Vandy. Dude, let me tell you something. We're okay with going 5-7, and then our head coach. Y'all, I don't think you're taking it in that stop with the whole, well, he didn't mean it like that. He said it. He freaking said, oh, well, we need to get to a bowl game. Y'all, and you're the same people who sit there and say, well, bowl games don't matter anymore. What's a bowl game? Bowl games don't mean anything. Players sit out of bowl games. Yo, I'm sorry. But like Dustin said, the easy answer would have been like, hey, man, this is Auburn University. Compete for championships. That's it, man. Dustin, I think it's 8, dog. Baylor's a must win. Guess what? If you go lose in Waco week 1, all of this is going to get brought right back up.
Yeah.
That's it, man.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'll just real quick, like there's no whining here. I don't think it's a big deal. Like to me, it's not a big deal. It's May. We got to make an episode. So I don't like what he said. I also think that if he comes out and wins games, that it won't matter. And then I think that this interview in May, this 15-second sound clip, has nothing to do with whether Auburn will win games or not. So I don't know how you could really take that as whining.
Because Dustin, the thing is we know. I mean, we don't 100% know, but I think we know that Auburn's going to be better.
Right.
I think we're going to be better on the offensive line. I think our receivers are going to be better. I think we're going to be better at quarterback, the room as a whole. Running back, we did lose a workhorse, but I think we got guys back there that are ready to compete, and we know about this defense. We know about DJ Durkin. Yes, I think we're going to be better. To me, I just look at how other fan bases take what Hugh said, too. And I got a lot of Alabama buddies, man, and they have sent it to me multiple times. One of my good friends, we talk almost every day about Alabama and Auburn. He texted me the other day and he said, what is this, bro? And I said, man, I don't know. I can't say a whole lot about it for real. And he said, sounds like a losing mentality over there. And I said, well, it has been for about the past 5 years, brother. It's like we haven't been doing a whole lot of winning. And he was like, yeah, I would hate to hear that from an Alabama coach. And I was just like, oh, man, that one hit me right there. But you're right. That's why y'all win national championships year after year after year after year. And, you're number one in recruiting, and you constantly in the biggest games of the year, and you get nothing but national TV spotlight. And, you're constantly talked about. Paul Feinbaum, they're going to praise you, and, so slice it however you want to, man. It's not whining to me. It's me wanting to be better. It's me wanting Auburn football to get back great again. And just be in the conversation. I told Dustin before we click record, I just want to be ranked again. Dog, you don't have to go to the college football playoff this year. Just go 8-4 and be ranked like 20 in the year, being ranked 23rd in the country. And you know what, Dustin? I'll walk out of it saying, Dustin, I had so much fun this year. This year was a blast, man. We had energy this year. We were having fun. I was wanting to go to games again. Like, that's what I want. I'm this one's got me cooking, bro.
Well, look, I mean, I think the majority of the Auburn fan base is in line with that. I mean, I don't think that all of a sudden every Auburn fan is okay with it. I have seen this uptick in the fan base of kind of accepting. I guess it feels like some of y'all have accepted defeat. People at this point, if you're listening to us 2 years into it, you're probably not one of those fans. Y'all kind of know how we get down, but the number FanDuel's got that at 7.5. It's 8. It's definitely 8.
It's got to be.
It's got to be, man. You know, you have the Baylor game is so critical because then you have that tough stretch there of A&M and Georgia, where those first 6 games you got some difficult challenges in there. But if you can get out of that, the back half looks like games that you should win. But I say that looking at Auburn, saying you should beat Vanderbilt, knowing damn well that Vanderbilt beat Auburn last year by double digits. You should beat a lot of these teams, but you haven't been. So, like, it's kind of one of the things where it's like, I'm not in the business anymore of overlooking Vanderbilt. And hell, maybe at this point we've played Vanderbilt enough times and the record is what it is that we should just never overlook them. I don't know. But yeah, we just can't seem to get that one figured out, regardless of the decade, regardless of the generation. For some reason, you know, it's got to be 8. And this was my whole point, and this is why I challenge people when they listen to us talk that everything is not a freak out. Just because I say, "Hey, this isn't good," does not mean I'm freaking out. And I'm going to go back to the New Mexico State game. I was pissed.
I remember.
I thought it was the most unacceptable bullshit I've seen at Auburn in a long time. And,
I tried to calm you down.
Yeah. And my point was, but I also said at the time, you can make this game a non-factor. And the way that Saban made that ULA game a race from the memories, and I would never expect Auburn to go on the kind of run that Saban did, but because that's never going to happen in college football again, period.
Ever.
You're going to see it with Kirby Smart. He's still the best coach in the SEC. They're still going to do great. They're not about to do what they did pre-NIL era because it's not going to be possible. But I look at it and it's like it starts stacking up. So people were getting all mad at me for going off after the Louisiana or after the New Mexico State game, saying you're freaking out, man. You're freaking out. Give it time. I wasn't freaking out. I was just saying this is a point of reference. This is now a strike, whatever you want to call it. And if it continues to go down this path, then we'll have to revisit it. And if he wins games, then we won't. But I thought that getting blown out at home to New Mexico State, and I don't want to hear about, well, they got a good coach and they got a good quarterback. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And Auburn in its worst year should never get blown off the field at the line of scrimmage. That ain't got nothing to do with no damn Diego Pavia. We got blown off the line. Guys like Connor Lew got blown up all night. That was a point of reference. That's all. A point of reference. Whenever I text you and I put in our group chat during the Tiger Walk at the Music City Bowl, I watched both teams get off the bus. Walked to one side of the stadium, watched Maryland get off the bus. I walked to the other side and watched Auburn get off the bus. And then what did I tell y'all, Blake? I said, we're going to lose this football game because we don't care.
You did. You text me that.
Point of reference. Just looking at it and saying, okay. And then we get into the next year. And my God, the debacles at the end of first half and the timeouts, I forgot they put in the 2-minute warning versus Vanderbilt, that his decisions to throw the ball versus Oklahoma after the Kentucky game, saying, I had to fight the urge to throw the ball when your running back had 27 carries for 276 yards. You should never have to fight the urge to throw the ball there. All those things are a point of reference. And at some point I look at it and I go, golly, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Didn't you say you named the starting quarterback because he was pressing in practice? Oh, okay. Okay, we'll take a note of that. At some point, man, I got a lot of notes. And on the good, I got what? You held on to beat A&M last year at home? Okay. In recruiting? So it's not freaking out, man. It's not freaking out. It's not whining, all this kind of stuff. We're just being realistic and pointing out what's going on. And if you think I'm some anti Hugh Freeze, I'm pulling for Hugh Freeze a lot.
Yeah, man.
I want this one to work. I like him as a person, and I want him to redeem himself, and I want him to do it at Auburn.
Yep.
Not only is it good for Auburn, and I want him to win because he's Auburn's coach, I want him to win as a person. So I can say, hey, calling a timeout 2 seconds before the 2-minute warning was really stupid. That doesn't mean that I dislike Hugh Freeze and want him to fail.
Yeah.
So the crowd of people that take it that way, you're just missing the boat. Yep. And like Blake said, we have the luxury of Blake lives in Mobile. I live in Pensacola. Sometimes it would be easier to live in Auburn and be up there around the beat and get content for you guys. But it also gives us the ability to kind of be one of the more realistic shows out there and just call it like it is, because I don't have to worry about anybody at the university getting mad at me. And if you think this is some big negative Auburn thing, look at the baseball coverage. Look at the basketball coverage. I didn't say a damn bad word about the basketball team all year. There wasn't nothing bad to say.
No.
And you can even go back to 2 years ago when we lost in the second round to Houston. I love that basketball team. I thought they capped out their ability, and I gave them nothing but praise and credit. I thought that they reached their maximum potential, and they lost in the round of 32. I'll be fair. I want to love on Auburn. Before losing seasons, buddy, I ain't got nothing good to say.
Come on.
There's nothing good to say. So, I mean, like, we can talk about individual players and how they're going to be good and all that kind of stuff, but I'm not carrying water for anybody here. And, you know, anything that we're saying, Hugh Freeze knows this. Hugh Freeze knows. He don't want to come out and say, I got to win 8 games. He knows it. And don't think for a second, behind closed doors in staff meetings, they don't talk about what a reasonable expectation for the season is. When they get behind closed doors, they say, okay, look, this is our schedule. These are the games that we're going to have an opportunity to win, blah, blah. Like they know all that.
Yep.
They know all that. These head coaches got everything mapped out to a T. You're not coaching in the SEC if you don't analyze and look at every little detail. So you're not going to last long. So Hugh Freeze knows what he's got to do. And what he's got to do is he's got to do 8. He's got to get to 8. And if he gets to 8, and you kind of see it right now in the recruiting, you see Auburn bringing in big names, but it's been, I mean, how long has it been since we've had a commitment, guys? And I think Hugh Freeze is an outstanding recruiter, but I think that he's kind of in that situation that Napier was in last year. And to Hugh Freeze's credit, he's not walking around with his head in the sand. He's not saying, I'm good to go here. I've got nothing to worry about. He knows he's got to win games, and he's saying that much. Yep. So, but what happens is in recruits, you're probably sitting there saying, well, if he's openly acknowledging that he's got to win a certain amount of games, that he knows he's got to have a certain amount of success or he is in trouble, those guys are probably going to sit back and wait to see what happens. I would anticipate recruiting-wise, if Auburn gets to 8-4 or to 9-3, then Auburn will finish really strong in recruiting the way that Florida did last year. But I think it'll be slow all the way up until that point. I think that they're great at building relationships. I bet Auburn's going to be second or tied for first on a lot of high prospects lists that are going to wait to pull the trigger, because that's the situation that we're in this year. And to me, I agree with you, Blake. You got to get to 8, because if you get to 7-5, boy, if you lose the bowl game, then you're 7-6, right? Like then it's just you got to come out and finish 8-4. You got to be 3-4 games at the end of this thing above 500, man. I don't think that's crazy. I think that's why the number is at 7.5, and I think Auburn should have got there last year. So it's like I agree with you on the talent gap. The talent gap in Hugh's first 2 years has been wide enough to where I didn't expect him to beat Georgia, to where I didn't expect him to beat Alabama. I kind of expect you to beat Alabama when you got that 4th and goal from the 31 on the last play of the game. But coming into that game and zooming out big picture, I'm not expecting you to beat those teams right now. There is a talent gap there. There was not a talent gap with Vanderbilt.
Come on.
I don't want to. And Diego Pavia sucked versus Auburn.
Yep.
He sucked last time we played them. He ain't balled out with New Mexico State. He was terrible. If we had a half-ass offense, we beat Vanderbilt in this Diego Pavia's on the field. I hate to tell y'all, Clark Lee and that Vanderbilt defense beat Auburn. Diego Pavia didn't do a damn thing. He was awful. So I'm tired of hearing that. Auburn beat Auburn. Auburn couldn't beat Missouri when their backup quarterback. They had to give boys some Tramadol and some Percocet and get Cook back out there, and he's limping around on one leg to beat us. He only needed one drive. They played their backup quarterback for 2.5 quarters. Starter came in, did one drive, and they beat us.
Yep.
That ain't got nothing to do with talent gap. And I don't know what Hugh Freeze is looking at. Auburn didn't go 4 years in a row without having top 25 classes. That's just not true. That's just not true. So there was a gap. The cupboard was bare, especially at O-line. He got left a mess at offensive line.
Yep.
Started with Gus Malzahn. Harsin didn't help it. Complete disaster there from a recruiting standpoint. And the roster was definitely not top tier.
Yep.
But the roster was good enough to beat New Mexico State. I don't give a damn what anybody tells me. The roster was good enough to beat Maryland in the Music City Bowl. I don't give a damn what anybody tells me. And it was good enough to beat Cal. It was good enough to beat Arkansas. Like, come on. So you got to get to 8 this year because he has not done himself any favors the first 2 years. If you could have, if you just would have beat New Mexico State, then you would have finished that year 7-6. Okay, it's a winning season. If you just would have won, say you just Arkansas, Cal, and Vanderbilt. Just say those 3. Let's say you still blew the Oklahoma game and you blew the Missouri game. You're still at 8-4.
Yep.
And no one's saying a thing. So he's got to get to 8. But I would make the argument 9 would really help him out because if he goes to 8-4, maybe loses the bowl game, finishes 8-5, people are still looking at you next year like, hey, you one bad season away from still getting the can. So, like, he needs to come out strong this year, man, and beat his rivals and all that kind of stuff. He really does. It's got to be a lot better than what it's been. And we all know that, and he knows it, and it's, so that's where I sit with it, Blake.
I want to run down the schedule real quick, and I know we'll do predictions and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not predicting anything. I'm just looking at it. Baylor, Ball State at home, South Alabama at home. You should be 3-0.
Got to start 3-0.
Got to start 3-0. Then you go to Oklahoma on the road, at Oklahoma, at Texas A&M, at Georgia. If you can come out of that stretch 1-2, I'll take it. So if you're 4-2, and then you have Mizzou at home, Arkansas on the road, very winnable game. I'll just say you should be 6-2 after that. And then you have Kentucky at home, Vanderbilt on the road, Mercer at home, and then Alabama at home. Y'all, come on. That is why that schedule right there is why I was upset with him turning and saying, well, we need to get to a bowl game. I'm sorry, I'm different. All right. I know a lot of you, just might be a little different than me. I like to compete. I want to step toe to toe with the Alabama Crimson Tide. And I respect the hell out of that program over there. But that is who I put a bullseye on every single year because they hate us and we hate them. But they laugh at us because of crap like that. And y'all think it's funny. Like, I see a lot of people on social media, they're like, look at Alabama fans. No, man. No, they're right. They are right. Boy, they would be setting Tuscaloosa on fire right now if Kalen DeBoer said that. they would be setting it on fire. So that is how I look at our schedule, and I'm like, man, it's there. The opportunity is there. Y'all, I know Baylor's not going to be easy. Their quarterback, great. I think Auburn has the chance to light the damn scoreboard up, honestly. I think Auburn has a chance to go out there. I do not think their DBs can stay with our wide receivers. I think Jackson Arnold could have a big day on the ground. I just don't think their defense is going to be able to stop Auburn. I don't. And I think Auburn's defense is a little bit better than theirs. So I think Auburn's defense can slow their offense up a little bit. So, yeah, it's not going to be an easy game, but I think you should win in Waco, and that's a must-win for Hugh. One more time, don't take it any other way. I love Auburn. I love Hugh Freeze. I want him to be successful. But we got to start having a better choice of words, man. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get to some of these comments before we get out of here. Please share this on social media. Smash the thumbs up button, sub if you haven't, all that good stuff. Karen says that Freeze said it better in his interview with Mike G. Yeah, I thought Freeze was excellent in that interview. And that's because Mike G is a good interviewer and asks fair questions and kind of knows how to have the conversation with him. And I thought Hugh did a good job there. I don't think he really needs to go doing too many more interviews. I think he did a good job in the Mike G one, and he should just say, "Hey, reference what I said to Mike G."
There you go. There you go. Great point.
Let's see. Karen says it would be nice if Hugh brought some fire to his replies. This is something that Blake kind of was on early in year one. And again, don't take this as we're saying, "Oh my God, this is the worst thing ever." But just maybe like if you brought a little bit more juice sometimes. It would at least make the fans feel better, but when it kind of seems like that same thing plays out on the field, then it starts kind of raising some questions, right?
Okay, so perfect example right here, Dustin. People make fun of Eli Drinkwitz and how he answers questions. Do y'all remember? I forget who they were playing last year, but they won and they were like 6-2 or whatever. And he was like, "Boy, this win right here puts Mizzou in the college football playoff talk." And everybody was like, "What?" Like, bro, what are you talking about? That's okay. We knew that Missouri wasn't going to no college football playoff. But Eli Drinkwitz said, "Hey, baby, we're going to the playoffs." Put some juice into your responses. And everybody's like, "Well, Hugh can't say that." Well, he can say that we need to compete for championships because Eli Drinkwitz says it at Missouri all the time. They're telling Eli Drinkwitz, "Hey, man, Missouri's going to be terrible. Y'all lost everybody." Eli Drinkwitz said, Who's going to be terrible? Who y'all talking about?
Yeah.
Not Missouri. You ain't talking about Missouri. Missouri's not going to be terrible. We're over here winning 9-10 games a year now.
He told Heupel, "I stand on business." Heupel didn't even know they had beef. He was like, "What?"
He said, "I stand on business." All right. And that's my thing is I think that's why his players love him. And I'm not saying Hugh's players don't. Now, don't get that twisted. But Eli, that's why people love him, man. That's why Missouri fans love him. And he was also a guy that they wanted fired at one point. But he always brings that juice to his answers, man. And he shows up for his team, and just saying simple stuff like that. We knew Missouri wasn't going to the playoffs last year. They got blown out at A&M, all right?
Yeah.
But he come right back and was like, "Hey, put us in the college football playoff talk. Do it." And I like stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure. And we brought this one up already, but it kind of lends into this point. Ed saying, like Coach Prime said to the players, there will be no more of this at Colorado. Say it with your chest. And like Blake talked about, the internet ran wild with that. Oh, whatever. Look at him. He's so cocky. He's so brash. Well, when Prime showed up, they had won 1 game. First year out the gate, they win 4. That's a 3-game improvement. That's pretty big. Next year, 9 games. That's 5 games. So 8-game improvement in 2 years. Like, he's doing something.
Got a 5-star quarterback coming in, taking over for his son. Like,
right. So you don't necessarily have to like the way he does it and all that kind of stuff, but obviously his players respond to it. So, I mean, and you got to back it up. So JW says no matter what he says, he still has to go out there and get the wins. And that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing. And I want everybody listening to kind of understand here. Up until like SEC media days, which is in like late July, there's nothing going on. There's just nothing going on.
But this is going to get brought back up.
For sure.
SEC
Yeah.
media days.
It will get brought back up. And if Auburn goes 6-6, then people will go, well, are you happy, Hugh? Like that's the problem. That's the kind of the thing with it. But if he wins 9 games, 10 games, then it doesn't get brought up at all. And people will come back to this episode and go, remember we all were freaking out. And it's like, well, so it's ultimately, yes, JW. It's just like Georgia is a perfect example of this. If Georgia was losing football games, then everybody would go, they'd be freaking out going, the culture over there is so bad, they can't even drive down the road without getting a ticket. But they win football games. So we look at it and we go, I don't know why they can't drive down the road without getting a ticket, but you can't question the culture. So you just got to win football. That's all it is. That's all it is. Yeah. Just go win football games.
Winning cures everything.
Yep. Steven said, and like we acknowledge that it's May, we got to do a sports talk show. And that's what I always encourage people when people get upset about certain takes or whatever. It's like, well, man, it's a sports talk show. For one, it's not that serious.
Yeah.
Like it's just not that serious. We don't hate these people personally or all that kind of stuff. I feel confident in saying that we've never, ever gone out and attacked someone's character and all that kind of stuff.
No.
It's May. He made a dumb comment. We got to talk about something. Yep. Steven says, this is by far the best Auburn podcast out because y'all call it like you see it instead of trying to pretend like everything is okay. Steven, that means the world to us, buddy, because we would do bigger numbers if we played the game. And here's the thing, Steven. I want to play the game. If Auburn can win 8-9 games a year, I'll hype them up. I'll bug like hell. I just can't bug on 5 and 7, brother. I can't bug on 5 and 7. Again, you can reference the baseball coverage we do. You can reference the basketball coverage we do. Auburn hasn't won a national championship in either one of those sports since we've been doing this podcast. But we heap love upon those guys because they're competent and they win enough games. So you just, like I want to be that guy. Okay. But you got to give me something to be that guy on.
I love Auburn with all my heart, man. And it's like the baseball team this year. People kept asking me, Blake, what are we going to be like? Like, what's happening here? What's happening here? I gave out my starting lineup. I said, hey, Auburn's offense, they're going to be really good. They're going to be great. They're going to hit. Well, what about pitching? I said, man, I'm from Missouri. You got to show me first. All right? The show me state, dog. Sam Dutton was a great pickup. Cade Fisher, great pickup. But they got to show me first. All right? But I wasn't just going in Auburn's going to Omaha. All right. I gave you a realistic expectation for that baseball team. And that was to be a 2 seed in a regional and just be happy to make the postseason. That's where I saw it. After going 8-22 last year, just go be a 2 seed, get into a regional, make the postseason, make the regional final. You get beat by Florida State or North Carolina or somebody like that. I would have tipped my cap and been like, man, war damn, baby. Like, what a turnaround of a season. Great job. I was not on this podcast saying, man, Auburn, we're back, baby. We're back. Omaha, we're winning 22 games in SEC play, and we're just the best team out here, and like nobody can hang with our stuff because that's just not who we are. That's not what we're going to do. I love to sunshine pump. I love it. But there's a time and a place for it. And on some things, like I'm so passionate about this topic because, is it a nothing burger? Sure. All right. But it also means something to me when I see our head coach standing at the mic and I know it's going to get plastered on the internet. And it's just a weak answer to me. It's something that's a weak answer. And because I love Auburn football just like every one of you love it. And I feel like we should be fired up because we want to win. Do you think Do you think we love going every Saturday? And when I say we, I mean all of us in here, everybody that watches this show. Do we love going to Auburn every Saturday and you drive up and you get there, you spend the night, and you wake up Saturday morning and you go around town, and then you lose a game at 2:30, and then it's just that long, miserable drive back? Like, do you think, like, man, I want to get back to rolling tumors. Like, when I go to Jordan Hare, I want to get back into the feeling of beating a big time quality SEC opponent in our house and going straight to tumors and rolling tumors. Because even though Texas A&M was fun, man, that's just not.
Yeah.
It's just not it. I want to go back to the early 2000s and that 2010. I would even take 2019. I would even take 2019. We're 9-3, competitive. Like, come on, man. That is my thing with it. Is I want to get back to that, and I want our coach to be. I want him to be the guy. Like, I believe in Hugh Freeze. I always have, and I want him to be the dude, man.
One of my favorite teams it was either 05 or 06 that went 11-2 and won that Capital One Bowl. Kenny Arns last game was 17-10 over Nebraska. They finished in the top 10. There's no national title there. There's no SEC title that year because I believe LSU was really, really good. And but I think it was Arkansas went off that year. The West was really tough that year. But that team went 11-2, won a big bowl game versus a historical program like Nebraska. And I love that team. That season was super fun. So it doesn't have to be. It's not championship or bust for me, like as a fan, because I know how hard it is. It's just not 5-7 and it's 6-7. It's just not. It's just not that. It's just not that. Yeah.
It's like what part is going to play in a bowl game against Houston and losing, dog?
Yeah. Oh God.
Like, and I know that wasn't under Hugh. I'm just saying that's how bad it's been as an Auburn fan. That isn't fun. That's not who we are.
Yeah.
So I want us to get back to those days like Dustin's talking about.
Auburn Dad for Life says if you don't lose on 4th and 31 in the last minute, that's the thing too. It's like sometimes these losses, they sting more emotionally in the moment, but you realize the impact of them way later. And like looking back at that when it's like, man, the conversation around Hugh would be a little different if you just knocked that pass down. That's how much that win would have meant. So yeah, I mean, he's had some opportunities. He had opportunity in that Georgia game. There's just been a lot of opportunities to where he didn't have to be in this boat going into year 3. Steven says hard to commit with that kind of uncertainty. Absolutely. I'm predicting a slower start to the recruiting cycle this year. And I think if Hugh proves if he has a good year and he's coming in for year 4, I think there'll be a flurry finish because he's going to be in good with guys. We know he knows how to recruit. And you saw it again with Florida last year where Billy Napier can recruit now, and Florida's got a good recruiting structure. But they had that whole situation where they didn't know if he was going to be the guy. Once it was like, hey, I am going to be back next year, they come in, they fill it out with a top 10 class. I think you can see a similar situation this year with Auburn, but it will be a little bit slower to the punch with some of these commit because it is hard to commit when your head coach is acknowledging, I got to win games this year.
Yep.
Efficient Gaming says 9-3 guys. Boog. Hey, this team can go 9-3. This football team with this schedule, with the talent on this roster, they could definitely go 9-3. Wouldn't be shocked. So I hear you, Efficient Gaming, and definitely would love to see that. And I think 9-3 might get Auburn into a playoff. Seahall says last year proved that anybody can win. This year it's going to be Auburn. Love the optimism, buddy. And in the portal era, I believe this could be a thing where good teams and good programs, they'd have 2 or 3 good years, and then maybe one year the pieces don't fit. Kind of what you've seen with Auburn baseball. Was Butch Thompson a bad baseball coach last year? No. Half the team was created through the portal, and it didn't click. And this year it did. So, and now Auburn's right back to where they should be in baseball and what they have been under Butch Thompson. But, yeah, this is a good point. And Auburn, there's no reason why there's no reason why it can't be Auburn this coming up season. 9-3 minimum. Yeah, a lot of y'all are on that 9-3 train. I hear you. It's definitely possible, and I definitely hope we get there. Auburn Dad says, Blake and Dusty, my son had another great doctor's visit. All went well in his 1-year biopsy. They make sure he only goes to the doctor every 3 months now. God is good.
That's
Auburn
awesome.
Dad, man, so happy for you, brother. I know it's been a long process for you and your family,
No
for
doubt.
your son. I know how much your kids mean to you, how great of a father that you are. The Auburn community, it's been awesome to see everybody in the Warport community, the up-tempo community, the Auburn family in general, get behind you and your family, support you guys in any way that they could. So we love you, buddy. We appreciate you. You've been in my prayers for a year now, you and your family, and I'm really glad to hear this, my guy. Y'all keep chugging along, and hopefully this year y'all get to enjoy some wins on Saturday.
Say it louder, brother.
And Karen gifting the 5 up-tempo podcast memberships. Appreciate you doing that, Karen, because later on this week, I got to get one up for you guys. There was a lot of big-time recruits. There was a lot of big-time guys on campus this last weekend, and Auburn definitely made some moves. You're definitely hearing a lot of positive things in a battle for a quarterback. Whole quarterback situation has been kind of interesting. At one point, we thought Burgess from Grayson was going to be committed already. Then they kind of said, let's kick the tires on Duckworth because he is a dog. And so that's fun stuff. So I'll definitely get in here in the next day or two and crank that out for you guys. Karen gifting 5 more to y'all. And hey, if there's anything that y'all do want to hear, anything y'all want to see discussed, topics for podcasts, we're kind of in that dead period right now for Auburn news. You got baseball going on, and that's about it. So if there's anything you guys want us to do content on, man, let us know, and we'd love to get that out for you guys. And members, be on the lookout because definitely got something go. Yeah, Brett says, let's go Stars. Absolutely, the NHL playoffs are on and popping. Brett is a big Stars fan. Pull them for your Stars, my guy. Blake, you got anything before we get out of here?
Oh, War Damn Eagle. Love Coach Hugh Freeze, and I hope he turns the Auburn Tigers around, and I hope they have a successful 2025 campaign because I want to see Jordan-Hare be lit again. I want it to be absolutely rocking in a top 5 stadium in the country like I believe it is. So, War Damn Eagle to you all.
Yeah, Tim says, Dustin took his girl to our first game, and we got our cheats class versus New Mexico State. We're in a bad spot, boys. Yeah, man. I was like, I'm going to do New Mexico State because I want her to go to the game and just see Auburn win, and it be a good time, and we'll go to Tumors and get her to roll Tumors for the first time. It's just going to be, so great. Look, I took her to her first Auburn baseball game. Mason Mainers hit a walk-off home run. Took her through her first Auburn basketball game. We clapped. I don't even remember, maybe Ole Miss last year, but we clapped whoever it was. We've been to 4 Tampa Bay Lightning games. They're 4-0. We've been to a Buccaneer game. They clapped the Eagles at home. Only team that ain't done it for me is the one I love the most.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. That look, it can't be the thing. It can't be the thing, Tim Toolman Taylor. Auburn young men should feel confident about taking their girlfriends to New Mexico State games. Okay? It shouldn't be a worry. There was somebody who took his girl to a first game, and it was a Vanderbilt game. And he was thinking in his head, it's Vanderbilt. Yep. We just beat them last year. Beat their ass in Nashville. Yep. Come on, baby. Let's go watch Auburn beat Vanderbilt. You're killing us out here. Y'all killing us. It costs $40 just to park.
It's rough out there.
It is. It is. But listen, we going to hang in here, man. I'm never, ever going to give up on my damn Tigers. And like you guys, I believe this year is going to be the year, man. And when I say that, I'm not saying it as like I think it's going to be 10-2. We're going to set all kind of records, blah, blah, blah. But I still remain optimistic that this is going to be the season that is the start. And if it's not, like I alluded to about 20 minutes ago, we got plenty of reference points to go back, check back to the first 2 years and say, well, I'm not surprised.
Mm-hmm.
So one way or another, guys, we're going to find out. We got plenty more time to talk about it. Thank all y'all for joining us tonight. Thumbs up, sub, all that good stuff. And we'll see y'all later on in the week. Members, be on the lookout for that member pod on the recruiting weekend. I will have that up for you guys in a couple of days. Love y'all. Appreciate all y'all that help us out that way. And we'll see you all on the next one. It's War Damn Eagle, baby.
War Damn.